Hello there, and welcome to KnowThyselfUniversity.net's book reviews. This particular segment is actually the intro that's going to go in front of all of the intro book reviews. So for this next 30 videos, you're going to see a lot of books that we're going to bring up, and I'm going to show you why it's helpful in my life and could be helpful in yours also. And in this intro, I wanted you just to know that this gives you an opportunity to get the books that we're going to be talking about and let you know why we're doing the books, but also to let the authors of these books know that once we do get into the in-depth portion of the book reviews, we're not going to just sit there and read page for page of your books. We want to basically just highlight your book and basically be a good commercial so that we can refer other people to these particular books and other books you may have. So we're not going to just sit here and just give away your whole book for free online. That's not what we're about. But we want to highlight certain books just so that people can get a taste of what we like to get into in order for us to know ourselves better and to know thyself university. That is how you know the universe. And this particular book, I'll be quick, that for this month, we're going to be highlighting Shawn Stevenson's book, the Sleep Smarter book. It includes a 14-day plan for you to get restful sleep and why it's important. 21 essential strategies to sleep your way to better body, better health, and bigger success. Shawn Stevenson with the foreword by Sarah Gottfried. This is this month's highlighted book that we're going to be showcasing. So you're going to see this for all the other videos. Okay, sit tight, enjoy, please subscribe, share, and comment on other books that you might want us to review also. Peace. Hello once again, this is Professor Lorenzo McCoy, and this is a part of our books review series that we do here. And first and foremost, the book of the month that we're going to be promoting is Shawn Stevenson's Sleep Smarter book, and it's the #1 book in the health realm that helps you to find out how to get better sleep in your life, so that you can how good sleep will help you lose weight and live longer. But this particular segment is about these two books. There's a class that I'm taking right now. It's a CCNA class. As you see, CCNA, routing and switching. Official guide. Some nice thick books here. But it's going to get you ready for the CCNA class. Now, I'll just speak briefly on this book. The first one, which is this one. As you see, I'm about halfway through this one. Been taking the test, getting A's on the test, but it's a lot of information, a lot of good information for those of you who might be, I wouldn't suggest it for someone who doesn't like computers or just totally new to computers, but if you like networking, you like computers, I worked for AT&T, I used to install UVerse and stuff like that, so it does help that I have some knowledge of how electricity works, how lines work from the central office, how high-speed internet, comes from the central office, and how different equipment gets it to the premise or the person's home. This particular class, though, gets even deeper because there's a lot of things that we used to use. We used to use Cisco routers and things like that. And there were certain things I saw that would have switches on it for half duplex, full duplex. I didn't know what that meant. I just knew if I clicked on it, it'll turn green, if I had it right. If not, it'll be auburn, and people would call you back and say the stuff wasn't set up right. So now AT&T, and I'm sure even Comcast, DirecTV, a lot of different people like that. I think AT&T, we did a little bit deeper stuff because we're dealing with the phone lines, so we have to understand that. And the way that our technology don't even work anymore. You know how it is when we boss, no, us boss, we sick. No, I'm sorry. But you have that, it's natural to be like saying we and our. It's not my technology, you know what I'm saying? But I did. I like working there. But that's know thyself university humor for those who get what I'm, what that joke is about. But this particular class, even the first few chapters that I've talked about, you're going to get deep into the knowledge of how packets work, how routers and switches send information. And this whole class so far is pretty much what I figured, but it has been confirmed with this first half of the book that I'm mainly dealing with how information goes from one piece of equipment, which is called a host, to another piece of equipment, another host. So right now, I've got one reason why I keep looking up is just natural because I'm seeing myself on the big screen up here. I have it hooked up with a HDMI cord to my laptop right here. And I've got my phone plugged in also. And, a lot of people don't like you tethering with different phone networks. But, I have my phone hooked up to my computer through a USB cord. And there's wireless, a wireless access point here at the house through Frontier cable, local cable here. So there's a wireless signal going right through me right now, and my computer can pick it up. And if I want to, I can use my phone as use my phone's internet also and tether my phone to my laptop. Now, networking involves the knowledge of how information goes from one apparatus onto a line, and we're using electricity once it gets on that line to get it to another host, another piece of equipment, and how it picks it up. We get into things that we didn't study at AT&T. They teach us enough above and beyond so we could do our job adequately. And that was, for me, that was like maybe 2010 or something like that. It's been a while. So I'm sure they're doing a lot more, than, technology keeps growing. Even while I was there for the brief 2 years while I was there. But I'm liking this class and I'm promoting it. This is I'm in DeKalb, Illinois right now. There's a local community college here called Waubonsie College. And I'm actually taking it through them. I like online classes because I want to study it when I feel like and take the test when I feel like it. Sometimes I like being on campus just so I can mingle and interact with people from all over the world. But sometimes, I want to just knock some classes out like this one. And it's brought to me through Waubonsie College. And there's a Kishwaukee College here too. And I believe you can take them both places because it's being offered by the Ed2Go program. And they've got a lot of nice classes that I want to take. They even have some security in Cisco, CCNA, plus the security in, plus networking classes. And it comes with the voucher that you will use to go and take the final test. This one is mainly just a CCNA class. CCNA, for those who don't know, is basically both of these books. Some people, when they take this particular test to get certified for doing what I'm doing, they take this book first and then take that test, which is the 101. Then they go ahead and take this other test. CCNA is basically one big test with all of this information. That's the one I like to go ahead and get it over with. So I'm going to go through all of this. And I should be finished with it about a month and a half. About a month and a half, it'll be over. Keep hearing this noise. Children might be back. But yeah, these two books. So I'm not going to talk as long as I do about with other books because this is an actual class. And this is something I'm not as knowledgeable about as a lot of the health, but I'm smart enough to pick up, the information as I'm reading it. And right now I'm halfway through this book, and I can tell you, for those who already know, you're not going to be learning anything. But for anybody who wants to go into this, if you like computers, you want to know more about how to set up a network so that you can get paid to walk into any building where a network engineer has already set up a network. You can come in and fix different things as long as it's not a hardware problem. You got to, at least you will know what the problem is though. You will know if it's a problem with a router having the wrong IP address. A problem with something not dynamically assigning the IP address to a new piece of equipment. You'll know how the computers, when you plug in a computer that's new to that network, how that computer basically lets all the other appliances know that, hey, I'm new to the network. This is my MAC address. You're gonna find out what that's about. But basically, I'm loving the knowledge of how computers and appliances talk to each other. Now, working AT&T, we used to talk about a GUI address, you know what I'm saying? Now I've gotten deeper into knowing what that MAC address is. I believe it's media access something. But basically, every single appliance has its own, all right, I'm recording, has its own address burned into the hardware. And it's very unique. That's how people get caught up when they do stupid stuff on the internet, or they steal somebody's laptop and you go online and stuff. That MAC address belongs only to that piece of equipment. Even though, like, I'm looking at this is a Pavilion, HP Pavilion, whatever model it is. This MAC address is the only one for this particular computer. And when this computer sends information out, even on the LAN, the local access network, or the WAN, the wide area access network, that's the network, once it leaves this house and goes to, I guess there's a, since this is, they're using lease lines here, that whole lease line going to some central office and then going to some another central office all the way to Texas somewhere. The wide area network, we got direct TV, I believe, here too. So it's a satellite. So it's even, we're using so many different types of technology. That's going to be the wide area network. The network in this house is the LAN, the local area network. How this computer sends packets out into the internet, it's amazing to see how it happens, and it's amazing to understand how fast these machines work. See, we're just used to just getting on it and sending the text and things like that, but you have no idea of exactly how it's happening. For those of us that like to tether our phones, to computers, and then, might say, man, something's wrong with the internet. You know what I'm saying? Can I tether my phone to the Xbox so I can watch Netflix? It is possible when you understand networking, when you understand what an IP address is, internet protocol, and then you start understanding all these different protocols. They get into how the internet was made. Now, of course, for all of you that already know about this stuff, it's probably not, you already know it. It's nothing. You already, can get into any system. It's cool, but, and I'm at a level where I'm right here. You're right here. I'm right here. But there are so many people down here who I just turn the thing on and I get lost. I just want to get on Netflix. I just want to send some emails every now and then. But I want you to know, for those who might want to get a little bit deeper and get paid more. See, I like doing things that most people can't do. And they can do it, but won't do the research and work and study for. Like even health. I love knowing how to get people in shape and not just make you jump on a treadmill. I like knowing the science behind things. I like knowing the science. If you want to speak a different language, if you see me in a shirt like this, I love when someone from Mexico sees me in this shirt and they're like, why is he wearing that shirt? I study chematology or Egyptology also. I know that's BES, B-E-S, a small stature people, the Twa people that populated this whole planet And yes, those ancient Africans were even here in Mexico. And we do teach a lot of those things on knowthyselfuniversity.net. But that's what I'm all about. It's all about knowledge, people. It's about picking up these books and reading them. Now, if you scared of reading, keep watching these videos, and I guarantee you're going to learn something. But just this part of the book right here that I read so far, this part right here, breaks down how the internet started, which I've had some other computer classes before, IT for business and some other IT classes, and you always start off with terminology, how the ARPANET, the I was about to say Center for Disease Control, not the Center for the not the CDC, but DOD, Department of Defense, is the reason why you have the internet. The military had it first. Once they was done with it, they gave it to you. That means they have something better than that. But make a long story short, from what I learned in classes back in the day, was reaffirmed in classes like this one. Then, of course, along with this, I'm going online. I can give you a link, and I will. I'm reminding myself right now while I'm recording this to give you a link to another guy that has an excellent that's going to be a good one with this one. He has an excellent video series that he does, and he takes donations, so I'm not getting anything for this. I'm just giving props to other people who are in this field, who are MOTEPs like myself and so-called nerds. I'm one of those so-called nerds, which is actually just nerd, drunk spelled backwards, because I didn't get drunk either, going through school. But the MOTEPs, there's a guy who's, while I'm doing this particular class, using these books and listening to the lectures that come with this particular course, I'm also going to his videos also. So I'm going to give you a link to his playlist, basically for people who are also going to take this CCNA test or the different CCENT tests. I'm doing a CCNA. I want to take the whole big test together. But he has some excellent videos. But basically how, the department wanted to have some type of way to still communicate just in case there was a nuclear war. Because if that happens, a lot of the infrastructure is going to be damaged, and you won't be able to just be talking on phones and hitting the telegraph and stuff like that. They wanted to set up a system, a network, an internetwork, so that they can still interact with each other. And of course, the first thing is we can connect big long cables under the ocean, underground, just like we have telegraphs, to be able to speak to each other. If there's a nuclear winter going on, where everything, all the waves is bouncing off, going straight through the atmosphere, like we have now, won't work, because there'll be so much of an overcast of nuclear fallout and this nuclear cloud that might be engulfing everything. Or it's just the fact that there was some type of IME or some type of magnetic explosion that just knocked out all of our communications. That's what the internet was for. We need to come up with a way that we can still communicate with each other across vast areas if all of this stuff that we normally use goes down. Then you have a lot of private companies trying to come up with systems. See, that's the amazing thing about this. How these things talk to each other. Somebody has to write protocols. What is a protocol? It's basically like law. So if you're into law, you're into logic, that's what these computers act upon. So even though people say computers not everything, they can't replace humans, they really not really supposed to, even though they can do a lot of things that you may do and I may do at different jobs, and they might make us a little bit frustrated. But instead of being frustrated, I'm here to help you with Know Thyself University. You know thyself, you will know the universe. Teach thyself, O great student, and heal thyself, O great physician. That's our paradigm. When there's more things going on, you need to be teaching yourself. so that you can stay a viable person, not just to get a job just over broke, which ain't nothing wrong with that, but also so that you can in turn create your own career also. You got to be able to do both these days. So don't get mad at technology. Don't get mad at the technology. Get mad at yourself. They're making books. They may seem overwhelming, but just like any book, start at the cover and go page by page. Some of us can breeze through it and speed read. I can speed read, but when it's something technical, I still have to slow down because you have to assimilate the information. That being said, they have the intranet. You know what I'm saying? What we call the internet. Now, I mean, this thing's going back, what, like 70s, 50s. The 50s at first, then going to the 60s. And shoot, back in the 1850s, I think we were doing telegraphs and stuff like that. This thing goes back much further than a lot of us think. And that's what's interesting when you start taking these type of classes. The 1850s, you're not thinking the 1850s when you take a class about technology and the internet. You got to go back to the 1850s to the telegraph and how things progressed over time. Different needs that humans had as we kept pushing. But Department of Defense, they got the resources. This is what we need. So you're going to see a term called requests for comments. Basically, what do y'all think we can do? How do you think we can make this thing work? There are a lot of people jumping on the scene that try to make things happen who are getting paid. You got private companies saying, we're going to be the ones. And you know what won out? It was the freebies. People that were just MOTEPs, so-called nerds, who were coming up with different techniques and protocol and writing this logic of how these apparati can speak to each other. How can a computer talk to another computer? How can it send some information to another computer? How should it be sent? How can you make it be sent over an electrical cable? What type of cable? How fast can it go? Then you'll see terms like the the Institute of Electrical Engineers and Electronics or something like that, the IEEE. You've seen that before when you go and buy a USB cable. What does 802.3 mean? What does 802.11 mean? You know, high-speed internet. These are different protocols that were written a lot further back in time than you might think. But people had to come up with ideas of how these things are going to talk. What's the math behind it? Computers understand bits of information, just zeros and ones. Now, when you hear somebody saying that, it's like, okay, but you know that really doesn't make sense to it because humans don't do that. Things are done for us in some type of Boolean math or and or math so that when we see it on the screen, it just makes sense. Computers look at IP addresses as all O's and zeros and ones. We don't know what that means. When you see 11111111111, you know what I'm saying, 8 ones, we don't see 255. 111111111 dot 1111111 dot. That means on. That means 255. Now it's going a little bit deeper. I fast forwarded, but these are the things you learn in these books. It's fascinating to me. I said, oh, that's what a IP address is. So even though you're hearing internet protocol, as you start reading and taking these courses, you keep seeing this protocol pop. I used to set up my own my own mail, and I didn't know what POP was, but I figured it out how to make it work, when setting up a website, and I had to assign different people in my company their own email address. I got to sit there and just practice and go online, doing a lot of research just to make it work. I still didn't know what POP was until I took this class. Oh, post office protocol. And I start seeing all these different protocols. HTTP, hypertext transfer protocol. You got, and then the FTP, file transfer protocol. Now I knew what that was because that's what I needed to send information from my desktop back in the day up to my website using Dreamweaver. First you design the website, and this now of course websites can be done for you with WordPress and all these. Just put a template on it. It's so easy. I got to make somebody a website tonight. I want to start recording that also. Just even using a template made by somebody else, but you can make a nice professional website, just like the one I made for KnowThyselfUniversity.net. But going for this last 7 minutes talking about this, back in the day, and you can still do it now, of course, that's the right way if you want to really totally control everything about your website. You design that first home page in Photoshop. Then you can use something like Dreamweaver for every single clickable spot and set up the hotspots that people are going to be able to click on and actually take that and make a link to either an icon, a sound, if they click on this, music will play, a video will pop up, or whatever, or to go to another page. You know what I'm saying? That's what links are all about. Hypertext markup links. That is what is basically a web page. A website is a whole lot of pages with hotspots on it, so that when your cursor hovers over it, it lets you know you can click on something here. Just learning how these things work. FTP, I never thought. I know it has something to do with file transfer, but that protocol, I wasn't really. I was like, okay, another protocol. Okay, that's just what I need to get my files up there. That's all I knew. I didn't know anything about trivial file transfer. Like I just told you about post office protocol. All these different protocols. Why are they using this term protocol like it's law? Until I started learning the request for comments. You can still Google up request for comments right now to read the protocols that they came up with in the 70s, the early 80s. You know what I'm saying? What we know as the internet right now was up and running around like 91. And you also start learning like the last of the internet protocol version 4 internet addresses was used up. We're still using them, but now we're using IPv6. And I used to wonder why when I was trying to hook up my phone to Xbox. I don't really play the game. My children play the games, but I sure do watch the Netflix. But I was like, isn't it possible for me to hook up my phone? The internet's not working here. I should be able to use this phone. You're not supposed to do it. The phone companies don't like this. But I was like, I know it's got to be possible. Then I start seeing IPv4, IPv6. And I used to always notice that. I really didn't know what that was. Even though I worked AT&T and stuff like that, we didn't get a chance to go that deep during the years I was working there. What is that? Now I know the Internet Protocol version 4. That's when you see an address like 192.18.5.1.0. You know what I'm saying? Now, you've seen something like that. You looked up, what's my IP address? When you're trying to get your computer on, they're telling you, okay, type in IP config and all this type of stuff at the command prompt. When I was doing that back in the day, trying to figure out what was wrong with my internet connection, and I'm asking people, talking to people on the phone, it's okay, go to your command prompt. How do I get there? You go into command prompt, like, oh, I'm really seeing the inner workings of my computer. It's fascinating. But now I'm seeing that, wow, it's interesting. They came up with all of these protocols for different classes of IP addresses, A, B, C, and there is a D and E. That were for, I believe there's the D, it's like 197.01.001, something like that. That has something to do with loopback, some type of loopback network protocol, something like that. But it's not even used, but we're using the A, B, and C. So when you see an address that starts with 10 dot something, that's a A. There's a certain amount of hosts that can link up with it, and a certain amount of networks. And now I'm reading about subnetting, where an engineer can come in and take a classful internet address and finally tune it so that you're not wasting a whole lot of bandwidth when and like dynamically setting a vast amount of IP addresses. You can close it down and make a subnet. Now I know this makes sense, but for people who already know about it and they're even hired me, are like, there's a better way to explain it. I'm still new at this myself, even though I've worked in this field and help labs and stuff like that. I can help a person when they can't get their computer started, or it's stuck, or it's frozen and stuff like that. Or even if they need to really set up some things, you got different software working at the same time, and the computers, they got two appliances trying to have the same IP address, and you have that asterisk right there, that exclamation. I know what to do with that, but I like knowing more of the why. And that's what these type of classes will do for you. So this particular intro video on these two books is more of a video that's basically promoting learning these particular things, the security end, the routing end, and even if you just want to be a computer tech, the guy that sits on the phone said, okay, I want you to turn your modem off. I want you to turn the router off, unplug it for 10 seconds. You want to be that guy, you can get paid a lot. You want to work in Best Buy, the Geek Squad and stuff like that. These are the type of classes that you have to take, and CCNA is that one class that I know of, which is why I'm taking it now, to where if you want to stay viable, not for me, not just for a job, because I work with this technology. I like to know when it's not working. I like to know how to fix it. So for me as a business owner, and then I get paid for teaching. So the more I learn, the more things I can teach and make videos like this. So I don't mind promoting the writers of these various books. And once again, for this month, we're broadcasting, and we're giving big props to Sean Stevenson's Sleep Smarter book. So no matter what books you're gonna be seeing these next 20 or 30 videos, this is the book we're promoting this month. So we're always going to talk about this for the first 1 or 2, at least 1 minute before each one of these. And all of these are intros. These videos are intros. And it's always going to be around 30 minutes. Like right now, it's 30 minutes, 35 seconds. And after I finish with all the intros to this book, that should give you time to go and get these books or books like it, or to start preparing yourself and start watching the video links to this guy I'm going to show you with the link to this, who has a nice course set up. I believe it's like 84 different videos where he's going to bring you to the birth of the internet, all the way up to networking, what networking is all about, how routers work, how switches work, how we went from using hubs to now we're using switches, how you can even have, most of you, when you get internet at your house and they send you, it has a switch, a router already in it, built together. What do we mean by a layer 2 apparatus, a layer 3 apparatus, and how now you can have a layer 3 switch, even though switches are usually layer 2. And what does layer 2 mean? What are these different layers? What is the OSI model? What is the TCP IP model? What's the older TCP IP model? And what does that mean? All of it makes sense when you start taking these classes. You can look cool like me speaking about these things. But no, I like just knowing how technology works. So if you're a guru like myself, we're going to go deeper into this book. We're going to go very deep into both of these books. Since I'm taking the class anyway, why not teach you what I'm learning? That's what we're all about here at Know Thyself University. This has been Lorenzo McCoy. Thank you for joining me. Please subscribe. Please share. Please comment. And I will try my best to comment back at you within 24 hours. Peace. Know thyself. Study, study, study. Well, thanks again for joining us today. at knowthyselfuniversity.net's online school. Hopefully this book review, or this intro to the book review, wet your whistle a little bit and gave you an insight of what we deal with when we deal with a lot of these books, and show the significance that a lot of these books and what reading really does is very, very detrimental to your health if you're not reading books these days. But please subscribe, share, and get these books so that we can talk further once we get deeper into these books. Once again, this has been Lorenzo McCoy. Share, subscribe, comment, and let everybody know this is the place to be for reading books. Thank you.